Hey guys, welcome to this session of the course. So today we are going to be looking at typography specifically in Photoshop. In one of the previous sessions we looked at typography. I walked you guys through all the difference between different type of typography alignment and other things. So for this one I'm going to show you how to use it here on Photoshop and how to apply it to certain projects in order to achieve what you really want. So first of all, what you already know the difference between a typeface. A typeface is also known as a font family, where it has like a set of things that are related to a font, like the boldness. You can change the size, change the paragraph alignment and all that. So first of all, I'm just going to start by typing something. Let me just say typography. So if you come to Photoshop, you look at all the tools here, just like I explained in the previous session. By the left you can see all the tools here. This is the type tool. So when you come to the type tool, if you hold it, you see that there are different orientations of type here. You can see horizontal, vertical type mask, and horizontal type mask. So there are basically two, but each of them has like a type mask, so you can type either horizontally or vertically. But for this one we're just going to be typing horizontally, which is mostly the normal way to type. So I'm just going to type out the word typography. Typography. Then I'll save it. So as you can see, the size is very small. So this is where the font, the typography, the typeface setting comes in. So I'm going to close this, so I'll show you how to get it. So now when you come to your Windows, then you search for character. See character, then it will pop out anything related to the font here. So you can see we have the character and we have the paragraph. So I'm going to explain all these things. So when you come to character, you see the first one, this tells us the name of the font here. The name of the font here is Metropolis. As you can see, it's called Metropolis. The font weight here is medium. You see, as you can see, there are a lot of font weights. We have extra, light, and the rest. So you can navigate through each of them depending on what you want. What you want to use that font for. Is it the heading? Is it the body? So you can actually use it. This particular font has a lot of font weight here, so you can use it for different things. You can use the italic and all that. So for now, I'm just going to increase the size of this thing here, of this particular font. So it's on 12, font size 12. So automatically Photoshop has already aligned some predetermined sizes of font here. So you can see from 6 to 72. So I'm just going to, let's say 60. Yeah, you can see now it's big and bold. So let me drop it down a bit. Let me drop it down to 48 and see. Okay, yeah, 48 is okay. Then next up, I'm going to, let's say now I want this is, I typed it now, is on lowercase. Okay, let's say title case, because the first letter of the word is a title, is a capital letter, while the rest are small letters. So let's say I want to make this the whole of them to be capital letter. I don't necessarily need to come and start typing all of them in capital letter. Once you come down to this character box here, you can see all these options here. So this first one is to make it bold. You see, it makes the font a little bit bolder, but you can still just make the font bold from this font weight here. So most times I don't usually use this one, so you turn it off. So I can make this font now to be italic. See, I make it, then it turns out to be italic. Then now, what I was trying to explain is the capital letter. I want this to be all caps. So you see all caps. When you even hover on each of them, you can see there's a little notification that pops out. It shows you the name of each of them. So this one is Fox italics, this is Fox bold, this is small caps, this is superscripts, this is subscripts. Okay, this is superscript, this is subscripts, this underline. If you want the text to be underlined, so underline it for you. If you want it to be, what do they call this one? This strike through. So if you want it to have like a line in between, you see, you can just manipulate through these fonts, but you might not necessarily need most of this thing all the time. So the one I usually use is this all caps. So let's say I want this font now to be, this typography written here should be all caps. I'll just put it like this. See, it's going to automatically change it to all caps. Then I'll go down. Let me just say I want the font weight to be extra bold. So you see now, you can see it's bold now. So that's about that. So if you want to use this, let's say this is the heading of what we want to design, and then I want to put a body here. So let's say I'll just copy a dummy text. So I've copied the dummy text. I'm just going to paste it. So if you want to paste, you can either just click like this and then you paste the text. But the problem with this, if you have a body text, is that when you paste it, for example, let me just set this, and then since it's going to be a body text, it's not supposed to be as bold as the heading, and it's not even supposed to be all caps. So I'll turn off all caps, and then I'll drop the size to, let's say, 12, and then I'll reduce the font weight to medium, for example. So as you can see now, we have this, but I'll have to come and start manually breaking this text down to give me what I want. But in case you don't really want it to, you don't want to break it down like this by yourself, what you can do is, let me copy this, or let me, so I'm just going to copy this text so I can maintain the same font weight. Then I'll show you how to like just basically just type in all of them and arrange them. So I'm going to just hold on your mouse and drag it like this, so automatically paste in the copy text. You see it's still pasted in this font weight, but you don't really need to worry, because once you start adjusting the size and all, it's going to go back to normal. So I've turned off all caps, then I'll take the size back to 12. As you can see, it's arranging back to the normal way we want it to look. Then you can see, yes, it's back to this. So all of them are pasted, and they are all, the size is okay, and the alignment as well is okay. So next up, what I wanted to show you guys with the body text is the paragraph alignments, which takes us to the second box here, which is the paragraph alignment. So when I move to the paragraph alignments, you can see that there are different forms of alignment here. So first off, we have the left alignments of the font. So I think the names are supposed to pop out when I hover over each of them. So let's see, this one should be left align text. So as you can see, when I'm on this, the text are going to be aligned to the left side. Yes, they're going to be aligned to the left side. So when you come to this one, you can see the text are aligned to the middle, the center. All the text, all the body text are at the center from within the actual body in the text. But there's a way you can also align the entire text to the middle, the entire element to the middle. So but for this one, we're just looking at within the text now. So for this one too, you can also see right alignment. Yeah, this is right alignment, and this is justify. So justify, basically this is the major justify, this is justify all. So it basically justifies the text, and then we have like the other left, middle and right alignments for justify as well. So those are this one here. So whenever you're working with text, you might just know which one to use depending on what you are working with. So basically that's that about character and paragraph. So that's just the way. Okay, so for this one, for the body text, you can see from here we have the kerning and leading. So for the kerning, it talks about the space in between each letter in the text, in the body text. It could be any text, it could be the main title, or it could be the body text. So when you come here, you see for this one we have -10, so you can increase it to any size 200, you get, depending on what you are working with. So this is like, there's enough space between the text, and sometimes it might look nice, sometimes it might not be right, so it depends on what you're working with. Sometimes you just need to like give it a normal space, normal kerning. Then for the leading, it talks about the space in between each lines in a body text. So this one now, for now we have like size 18. So now we can move it down to 48, and you can see that the size increases, and this is so on and so forth. So this is like more like double line spacing when it comes to Word, Microsoft Word. So you can just like define the spacing that should exist between each of the lines in your text, probably for majorly for sake of legibility. So if you tighten it, for example, let's say 6, so you can see that the each lines are like touching each other, so you cannot really read exactly what's going on here. And by the way, this text I'm using is a dummy text, so just in case you're wondering what is lorem ipsum dollar, all this thing is just a dummy text that we usually use like just to give description or something. So that's basically that about character typography. Some other things are here like the metrics, optical, all these things. You might not necessarily use most of them, but for majorly you're going to like almost all the time you're going to use the size, you're going to select your typography. When you come here, I'm using Metropolis, like the name of this font now is Metropolis. So once I click here, you can see that I have a list of all my fonts. So I can just scroll through, I can see I can just be walking through them to select which one works best, you get. So you can even from here you can just put your mouse, your selection on this, and then if you continue tapping, okay, there's a way you are supposed to, you can just be hovering down through fonts. Okay, yeah, once you tap on, you can be hovering through the fonts in your fonts, in all your font lists. So that's just the way, but I think most preferably it's better to just like come to this, select this font box, so you can be seeing them with their name, and you can also search here. So let's say I want to change this to Montserrat, or let's say Covertica, for example, and then I just say Covertica. You can see they're here, and I can just select them here. See, the font now is on Covertica, and I can also select the font weight for Covertica. As you can see, Covertica doesn't have like the same level of font weight with Metropolis. So you see each font has its own listing. Some fonts has like a full complete font family like Metropolis, while some don't really have. So if you're working on probably like branding projects, when you're selecting fonts for a brand, it's most necessarily like it's advisable to go for fonts that have like, you know, like full font family, because when you're going to be working on brand identities and visual designs, you are going to need like to use different font weights, and it might be necessary. So anyways, that's that about, you know, typing your font and manipulating your fonts here on Photoshop. So next up, we're going to look at types of font. So here I already outlined some of the normal type of fonts that we know. So this is the serif font. So the serif fonts are fonts that have decorative lines. You can see the decorative lines here. If I zoom closer, you can see that we have all these lines, you know, like it has some extra lines at the edge, at almost all the edges. So then sans serif, they don't have decorative lines. I think the meaning of these sans actually represents without, so it's more like without decorative lines, something like that. So display fonts and mono font, all these fonts they have where they are meant to be used. Like sans serif serves mostly for like heading fonts. Serif fonts are like luxury fonts. So when you're working on a flyer that has something to do with like luxury, not necessarily luxury all the time, but you know, luxury and things that are related to luxury in a way. So display fonts, these are mostly like playful kind of fonts, while mono fonts are mostly used for like body texts. Most times you can also use sans serif for body text as well. So then decorative fonts, you know, these are like for when it comes to like something that are not like formal designs, like something informal, that kind of thing. So you can see it like decorative, playful and stuff like that. So that's that about the type of fonts. So okay, we also have fonts based on their length. So this one now you can see we have like typeface. This is the heading font, just like it's a sans serif font actually, but it's mostly used for heading, and this is actually a sans serif font, while this is a compressed font. Now sans serif is normal size, while this one is compressed. Yeah, these three fonts are the same size, but look at this one now is stretched, like all of them are the same size, but as you can see they are all 60 per 60 60 in size, but each of them looks different. The first one is normal, while this one now is compressed and the other one is stretched. So these are like normal fonts, compressed and stretched. I don't really know what to categorize this one as, but I just thought it should be necessary. So now I'm going to show you the usage of this particular font. So now we'll move next to something I just made. I just made this. Yeah, so I just made this, and I'm actually going to change this to, okay, anyways, let's just work with this. So I actually made this, I just made this little design, so I'll give you guys a description of how to apply these font size, font types, or should I say fonts, let me just say font types. Yeah, I don't know, but because we have types of font which are this one, so I don't know what's also called this one. Let's say font types based on length. So anyways, this is it. We have the verses like this one, Mr. XYZ versus Mr. XYZ, the killer versus thriller, the viper. This is just something not necessary, so don't bother about this. So now the first one, which is the heading, which is the verses. So now I used a compressed font, which is actually the right font to use. So now I also explored using the stretched fonts, and this is how it looked, and also explored using the sans serif font, and this is how it looked. So based on my judgment, the compressed font actually looked nice for this, because you can see it's giving like it's showing the verses very well. So another thing I did here was like overlapping. As you can see, the text that I wrote here are like overlapping. These are just like design styles, how to place your fonts and style it in a way that it's look nice. So I'm overlapping the name of each of the fighters here on top of it. So these are like overlapping and it's running through, because most of the details here are not really, these little details are not necessary, and people might not really want to read it. So most times, now the fonts that are actually supposed to be used for this body text here I use the sans serif fonts. I can actually use a mono type fonts, but in most cases a compressed font might not really work nice, or a stretched font might not really work nice, because a stretched font might end up making each of these text here, each of the body text here, stretch out of the frame in most cases. So I used a sans serif font, and I can also try using a mono font. So let's try one. What's the name? Agency FB. So let's see, let me swap this to Agency FB, and you can see it still looks okay, but I think the other one is better. But if I kind of work on the sizes, it's still going to look better here too. So anyways, let me just go for down. I think it looks nicer. Let's see, Agency FB. Yeah, I like the way it looks. Then go for this and this, and I'll just increase the size of this one to something bigger. So as you can see, looks very nice, looks good. So you use your mono fonts most times for body texts, and like the compressed fonts for like big headings, compressed fonts and sans serif fonts mostly for like big headings, your major stuff you want to captivate. Like anybody seeing this now would see the pictures, and then you see the verses, and then it's will like attract their attention. But for example, if I use this, is not really giving like that. If I use this, it's not really giving like that. So this is what we call font combination. You understand? Combination and pairing. So you can see I paired the compressed fonts together with the model fonts to give me this design. And if I needed to add any other thing, I can also choose which one would work better. So I also have this description here. So this is like the verses before the fights and after the fights. Don't mind me. I just designed something here. So there was no fight actually. It's just like a playful flyer. So now here you can see the winner, and the compressed font actually worked better for this one too. And just like I changed the body text to mono, let me see if this one, if it will work here. Agency FB, and as you can see, it actually did work, but it's like smaller. So let me see if I can increase the size. Yeah, it's very perfect like this. Very, very sweet. I just like the way it is. The mono fonts are like mostly best for body text. Yeah, mostly best for body text. So as you can see, it actually even looks like a movie flyer or something already. So now I did this just to show you guys the difference between using this and this. So the stretched font here on the second frame here, it actually still look not that bad, but obviously the compressed font is better. And looking at the body text here, when you're typing your information, you should also want to like style this, make it look style. Looking at this, comparing the both of them, obviously you can see that the first one looks nice. So when you're working on something like this, you should like style the fonts. As you can see here, I kind of reduced the size of some of them. It's just styling. It's not necessarily, you must not always do it like this, but I just feel it's nice. It's what they do in movie posters, and it makes it look matured and professional. So you see, you can see the difference. So they don't just type your body text anyhow and just lay it like that. So coming down here, let me change this, or probably let me just copy. So working through your artboard, you can just copy. I'll still talk about working with artboard probably on the next video, where I'm going to show you guys how to create carousels. So this last frame, I want to show you these linear arrangements of the text. So as you can see, I dragged the first text, which is the compressed font, and I just used the first one from the first flyer, almost same thing, but I rotated this one here. So this could be another style of placing your title. So as you can see, I made the title to be in a vertical format, and it can still be read, it can still be understood with the other details below by the side of it. Sorry. So with this, there's another thing you can actually do, which is called framing. So with this now, I'm going to create a rectangle shape. It's going to be behind these details, behind the title, behind everything written there. So now this is it. So now this one is white. So in this case, you can see that the colors doesn't really blend that much together. The winner is not really giving, it's not like very sharp like that. So in order to make it balance, I'll just use the color picker tool. I'll change the color of the text, and I'll just pick the purple color here. So you can see how it turns out to be. It's looking way better. So this might work out for some designs, and it might not work out for some designs. So this is still looking nice for this one. So I'm going to say, let me change the other details that are beneath it. I'll change their color to the same purple, but let me use a darker purple. Oh, I think I selected one of these. So yes, as you can see, their colors now are now blending properly with the white framing shape that I made. So I'm just going to drop down the shape like this a bit. I think it was okay the way it is. So anyways, like this, then I will just adjust it. So you can see this is another style of design. It can actually still make sense. Yeah, so that's that about text manipulation, text styling. When you are working with text, like the actual the right way to do it is that when you come to your title or any other text that you're working on, you like scroll through your texts. Like for example, you scroll through all your fonts, your font options here, and then you first off, when after installing your software, you like necessarily have to install fonts. Photoshop actually comes with some pre-installed fonts, but I don't think that would be enough for you. You are going to be working on several projects. So after installing your fonts, then when you're working on anything, you can just scroll through your fonts, or if you have a specific name of fonts that you actually like or want to use for your projects, then you just find them and use them. So fonts are very necessary in design, and in most cases, fonts don't necessarily have to come last in the design. Yeah, sometimes when you are working on something, applying the title can also like give you some extra ideas on how to develop the design. So the title, the fonts, they don't necessarily have to come last, because I think that's one thing that people think that okay, maybe after designing everything, then you just like put your font last and then you export. But sometimes, sure, most times you need to like try out your fonts and before you like extend to the end of the design. If you're still looking for like where to get more ideas on how to style your fonts and all that, you can go to Pinterest. Then you can get like ideas of designs like this. So let me log into Pinterest. So if you go to pinterest.com, so as you can see, it's already giving me the option to. So pinterest.com, and then you enter. So you can actually even log into this with your phone. You can download the app and check for several concepts here that can work well. So when you like get a set or a group of we call it mood board. So you get like 3 to 4, depending on what you're working on. Let's say 3 to 5, 6 designs that you want to pick some ideas from, and then you utilize those ideas to come up with your own. So let me just say sport posters, for example. Yeah, and then you can see that they're giving you a lot of options of different things. So you can like you can pick, let's say you save these first 3, and then you pick ideas on each of them, probably how they place the image in this one, how they use the text in this one, how they see this one now has this particular one. Let me click on it. It has this curvy text style, so that could be one other style that you can add to your own design. You don't necessarily need to copy everything, so you could use ideas from this one and add that curvy text maybe here. Like that's the way to like develop your own, come up with your own actual concepts. Yeah, so you see the same, this one has its own styling of the images here. You can also include some other little elements or style from any other one, and at the end of the day you have your own design, your own unique concept. So that's about text styling and manipulation in Photoshop. So stay tuned and keep watching.